Tu Diep greets my dear friends. So after all the ups and downs, a new dream house, the last thing Jame wanted to see before leaving, has come true. Tu Diep and Jame said goodbye to the old house. Today they returned to clean and shop for the new house. Starting a new life. Let's watch together. Diep began the morning with a bright smile, recalling how little NHI had run to hug her teacher at school. It was a small but meaningful sign. NHI was slowly adjusting to her new environment. No longer shy or hesitant, James watched his wife and daughter with loving eyes. Today wasn't just any day, it was the day they would say goodbye to their old house, filled with memories, and take the first real step toward a new chapter of life. James suggested they go together to pick out decorative floor tiles for their new home. He wanted the place to be clean, easy to maintain, especially with a child like NHI, who often went barefoot. They arrived at a nearby tile shop, greeted warmly by the staff. Diep leaned toward darker tones, finding them more practical and cozy. After browsing through many samples, they found a tile they liked, but it had to be pre-ordered. The shop owner promised it could be delivered in 2 to 3 days instead of the usual week. They paid a deposit, shared contact details, and left with the next task in mind: buying furniture. On the way to town, Diep dozed off briefly. The ride was long, and the day had just begun. When they arrived, she and James went furniture shopping, choosing a wardrobe, a bed, and hopefully a small tea table. Diep picked a wood-look plastic wardrobe in a warm color, while James debated between different bed sizes and materials. Eventually, they settled on a 1.6-meter wide oak bed, solid and just right for their small bedroom. They paid around 6 million VND for everything, with delivery included, and exchanged numbers to keep in touch with the shop via Zalo. With their purchases set, they returned to the old house to begin packing up what remained. As they arrived, James noticed a man nearby, someone vaguely familiar. There was something in the way he walked, the way he stood. After a few cautious words, James was stunned. It was John, an old acquaintance who had once caused them immeasurable pain and suffering. James couldn't believe John had been released from prison so soon. John explained with a voice full of exhaustion and sorrow. His father, once bent on revenge, had finally let go of everything, turned himself in, and confessed to all his crimes. As a result, John received a lighter sentence. Now, he had nothing left. His family was broken apart, the wealth gone, and he wandered the streets with no destination. James listened carefully, skeptical but moved. John offered a heartfelt apology, acknowledging the pain he had caused James and Diep. James, after a long pause, responded that he had never truly hated John. People make mistakes, but the real question is whether they're willing to change. He said he would talk to Diep and consider letting John stay in the old house, which they were about to leave behind. When James told Diep everything, she quietly took it in. Despite the scars of the past, she too felt something shift inside her. She remembered an old saying, "Don't strike someone who's already turned back." In the end, they agreed John could stay, but they would keep a close eye on him. If he was honest and sincere, they would help. If not, they wouldn't hesitate to act. They returned to the old house, their first home, where joy and sorrow had intertwined for years. They packed only the items with real sentimental value, the memories they couldn't leave behind. The rest, pots, rice, bedding, they decided to leave for John, quietly offering a second chance. John was overwhelmed. He admitted he had not even forgiven himself, let alone expected forgiveness from others. His family had scattered, torn apart by past actions. He felt unworthy of kindness. James told him that no one had the right to decide who deserved forgiveness. Time would reveal the truth. Diep added that if John truly wanted to change, he deserved the opportunity. They told him to reach out if he needed help. John, his voice shaking, said he couldn't believe they were treating him with such grace after all he had done. James replied simply, "I don't hate you. I never intended to make your life harder. I believe everyone makes mistakes. What matters is whether we still have the chance to make things right, and you still do." They continued packing, only taking the essentials. Diep looked around the old home. Each corner held a memory. James, gently, said, "I know this place means a lot to you, but it's no longer the right place for you." She nodded, eyes glistening. "I know. It's time to move on. And so they left. Behind them was a house full of memories, sweet ones, painful ones, all intertwined. Ahead was a new home, a fresh start, a new life filled with hope, healing, and growth. As the wind gently rustled through the trees, little Nhi held her mother's hand and asked, "Where are we going, Mommy?" Diep smiled down at her daughter and said, "We're going home, sweetie, to our new home." No one looked back, but deep in their hearts, the old house remained, a quiet, sacred part of their story, a place that had shaped who they were, and who they were becoming.